Instrumentalist, 29 albums, 40 Billboard #1 singles as a keyboardist, singer, songwriter, songwriter, producer, one of the biggest names in jazz. Brian Culbertson, thank you so much for joining us on News4JAX.
Oh man, great to be here and so excited for the show.
Absolutely. You just kicked off your tour, October 17th, Day Trip. Talk
Yeah.
about this album. What's the backstory behind Day Trip?
Yeah, so the new album Day Trip, I wanted to make some music that was a little more adventurous and like kind of exciting, like keeping the listener always on their toes. Like, wait a minute, what's around the next corner? Kind of like one of my day trips. I like to kind of go around and be like, oh, not have a schedule or a plan or anything, just kind of go with it. And that's what this music is. It's a full live band, all real instruments playing, just exciting and kind of like stuff that I was growing up on, like early jazz fusion stuff, late 70s, early 80s, kind of going back a little nod to that. So that's what it's about.
Yeah, those decades. What kind of artists are you talking about?
Like David Sanborn, Chick Corea, the Yellow Jackets, Brecker Brothers, George Duke, Herbie Hancock, that kind of stuff. It was like way more experimental. I'm not going like off the deep end or anything, but it's definitely fun to experiment with some different chords and changes, and we changing tempos and going over here and key changes and all this stuff and keeping it really fresh and exciting, like I said, for the listener.
You and Nicholas Cole, you put a lot of hard work into this. Talk about your collaboration, and you guys created a lot of songs in a short amount of time, right?
Yeah, so Nicholas Cole, young artist, I've been kind of mentoring. I remember when he first started, he was 17 when he put his first record out. He's now 30. But I've been watching his career develop and great songwriter. So I hooked up with him to write these songs, and our synergy was just incredible. We wrote 9 songs in 4 days. So we wrote most of the album. I wrote a few songs myself, but and then I invited him to be on this tour as well. So it's a lot of fun hanging with him.
Yeah, and this album, is it a taste of the iconic Brian Culbertson sound, something a little different? Or, in other words, what does this album say musically for you?
Yeah, it's definitely I think every album of mine sounds like me in a sense that piano being on the top is kind of that connecting thread. However, I'm always kind of experimenting with, okay, what style or sounds underneath am I going to be experimenting with? So this one is definitely more. It's like I said, it's all real live instruments. There was no, sequencing or computers involved. This is kind of an old school thing. So from that perspective, it's definitely different than I have been doing lately.
Absolutely. And you've touched into so many music genres over the
Yeah.
years with your albums like Funk to Colors
Yeah.
of Love, the trilogy albums, and then now
Yeah.
Day Trip.
Yeah.
When you're in that writing phase, in that creative mode, is
Yeah.
it something that you're like, this is a phase in my life where my thought process is this, I'm feeling this at the moment? Is it kind of spur of the moment? Talk to me about that.
It's definitely what's going on in the world. All musicians are inspired by what's happening around you. That you can't help it. So I just I go through different phases, like you said, but I kind of go from my gut. What am I feeling in the moment? And right now, I was just feeling this uplifting music. This record, Day Trip, is very fun. You put it on start to finish. You're like, man, I feel pretty good. I want to go out and do something. As opposed to, I like you said, Colors of Love, very romantic, nighttime, chill out. So I like to do kind of different things like that. So this is just the kick I'm on right now.
You talked about that gut feeling. Where has it led you?
Where we are today, 31 years later, I've been in this business. First record came out in 94. I was still in college. But I'm always just feeling like, okay, well, what should I experiment with next? And, what can I say? I don't have any great wisdom other than I just go with what I'm feeling. So I think that's important. I think there's an authenticity about that. Not trying, I'm never trying to chase like, okay, what's popular on radio? You know, okay, of course I'm listening to everything and taking everything in as an influence because you never know where you'll get influenced by. But ultimately, I'm just kind of like, okay, you know what? I'm feeling this right now. This is what I'm going to do.
I've listened to a lot of your music and I've been to a couple of your concerts, and I can
Oh,
tell
wow.
you with full authenticity that you are yourself, and you explained it so well about being you, not only on stage, but just as a person in general. And how
Oh, wow.
important is it for you to be you from doing everything from the clothes you're wearing, the outfit changes, to playing the piano backwards?
I mean, I think it's everything. You gotta feel comfortable in your own skin. I think over the years, sometimes you start questioning yourself. It's like, I don't know, I'm not getting calls for this or that. And so you like start freaking out. But ultimately, I think you gotta be, I finally found that, hey, you know what? I love what I do and I don't want to do anything else. So I'm just going to stay on my path and just kind of keep going. So that's where we're at.
Yeah, and you've worked with so many talented musicians over the years. Saxophone players like Steve Cole, Boney James. You're working with Isaiah Sharkey on this album. How do you determine who you're going to collaborate with, and especially how's it been working with so many talented people over the years?
Oh, sure. To me, the collaborations always start with the music. So most of the time, I'm writing the music by myself, and as a producer, I put that producer hat on. I'm like, okay, what artist would really complement this song? And you have to sort of understand how each person plays. I kind of equate it to being a casting director of a movie, right? Okay, you got the script, you got these parts. Who would fill these slots? And so I think it's exactly the same with music. Okay, so this record I heard, let's say Branford Marsalis is playing on a song. I had one song that was kind of featuring the saxophone. I kept hearing his sound on this song. So my trumpet player in the band knew him well. I had met him, but I didn't know him that well. So my trumpet player was like, "Man, let me call Branford." And next thing you know, we're in New Orleans hanging out with Branford, in the studio. And so that's really how it always works.
You have anybody touring with you now that's been with you since day one or for many years?
Let's see. The longest guy in the band now would be my drummer. He joined the band about 20 years ago. So it's kind of a mix of different. Unfortunately, nobody from day one. Honestly, day one was just my college buddies that were in the jazz band together. So I've moved on since then, but it's all good. But Chris, my drummer, has been with me a long time. So we definitely know what's about to happen. I just give a little and he's on it. So
You
that's
know,
pretty cool.
so just instinctively, you just got to give it a look, and that's
Yeah.
it. You're good.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And I always love to ask musicians these two questions. What is your
Uh,
favorite chord to play, and what's your favorite key to play in?
favorite chord. Ooh, jeez. I mean, one of my favorite chords when I was young that I was listening to this Chick Corea fusion, like the electric band back in the early 80s, and I kept hearing this particular chord. And I was like, I don't know, 12 years old. I didn't know what it was. And finally, I remember the day I figured it out. I was like, wow, what is that? It's a dominant augmented sharp nine chord. That's getting really technical. So basically, let's say it's in the key of G, which is one of my favorite keys. So we're talking D, F sharp, B flat, C, F on top.
Interesting.
Play that on a piano. You're like, whoa, it's really dissonant, but when you resolve it to the G minor, let's say, it's like, oh man, that's so cool.
Interesting. What kind of is it a transition chord? Is it kind of
Transition
leading
chord.
to that to the resolve of the one? How do you do that?
Transition chord. It's the five chord transitioning, really intense dissonance. But then when you release it, it's like, ah. So to me, it's about creating those like, ooh, ah. So always that back and forth. And again, that's keeping the listener like, whoa, wow, this is cool.
Mhm. And
I'm not just playing major major chords all the time. I'm trying to like be
gotta mix it up a little
moody.
bit, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Actually. Yeah.
Absolutely. And the hang, right? So you started this
Uh,
when, and how much of a fan have you grown with this and people tuning in every week?
Yeah, so the hang, to explain that, I started basically it's a YouTube streaming show that I do from my own studio at home. And I started it right after everything shut down. I'm talking April of 2020. We all know what happened then. So we're all sitting at home like, oh my God, what are we going to do? I had on the books a 70 show tour starting April 15th that year. Obviously, everything canceled, no shows, nothing happening. So I'm like, wow, what do we do? And my wife and I are sitting around. She's like, maybe you should start going live. I was like, oh, that's a good idea. Live streaming, because thankfully at that point, the live streaming thing was just starting to bubble up, and everybody started doing it immediately. So right away, I was like, okay, how do I do it in a kind of a high quality way? So I started researching. I realized the gamers had been doing this for a few years prior, and they really had it dialed in. So I started watching gamers live stream and figuring out how do they actually do it? High quality cameras and lights and good audio in stereo, right? Because if you just live stream from your phone, it didn't look great. It didn't sound great. So I'm like, well, first of all, I'm doing music, so it has to sound good. So I kind of went down that rabbit hole of buying all this stuff, set it all up, and finally did it. But it's been an amazing, amazing thing bringing my fans together because 3 times a week I stream still to this day.
And it's nice that I've seen you get a glass of wine. We're just playing some piano. We're having a good time, right?
Exactly. Yeah, so the fans are coming together, or they're on the chat. They all now know each other and have subsequently, been able to meet up at the live concerts now. So it's a really cool thing. And then after every show, I do a hang club meet and greet just for those members. So it's been really, really cool.
And you're coming to Jacksonville on October 31st. What can people
Halloween
expect?
show.
What can people see when they come to the Florida Theater? What are they going to be seeing?
Well, I'm not dressing up in costume other than our stage outfits, but there's that. No, I mean, this day trip show is really a lot of fun. It's a lot of the new music, but I'm of course going back and playing a lot of old songs that people have known if you've been with me for a while. We have a full horn section, huge band on stage. There's 11 of us on this stage, so we're jam packed up there. We actually had to do more choreography rehearsals than music rehearsals. It's like, okay, where does everyone go? But from start to finish, it's like boom, boom, boom. We're playing this song, going over here. Hey, we feature this guy. So it's everybody gets a nice feature during the show. Of course, Nicholas Cole is in the band. Another artist, Darren Ron, great saxophone player, has joined the band as well. So it's just, it's a trip unto itself, a musical trip. So it's a lot of fun.
Absolutely. And final question for you, other up and coming musicians or people who look up to you, what is a typical message of encouragement or piece of advice you usually give to them?
Yeah, that's a good question. I always like to say to young musicians that are just coming up, there's just a couple things. Obviously, you got to practice, play your instrument. A million musicians like that. What's going to set you apart is not only being a great musician, but a cool person to hang out with, number one. Think about it. We're on tour, right? We have we have 16 people in our entourage. The show's 2 hours a night, but that means there's 22 hours a day where we're hanging out together in close quarters on the tour bus, right? So it's about being a cool person, leave your ego at the door. Nobody needs any of that. Beyond that, it's about creating your own vibe, your own sound. Why should we call you other than this other person, right? What do you do that sets you apart musically? Um, you know, there's a million great players out there, but ooh, hey, this guy can blah blah blah, right? Maybe you learn 2 instruments, or you sing on the side, or you're a good arranger, or any number of things. can, lift you up. And of course, get your YouTube and social media up and self promote. That's important, you know.
Self
So all
promote.
these things, yeah, all these things really go in together and can help give a young musician success. So
All right, Brian, any final thoughts before we wrap things up?
I'm just excited about this new music, Day Trip. It is out now everywhere. You can check it out on my website, brianculbertson.com. Links to everything, including, my wine club, the hang club, all kinds of things going on. So appreciate you having me on and hope you enjoy the music.